Hello, welcome to Strong and Slow Flow Yoga. And today the theme is going to be all about gratitude. So I'll give you different things about gratitude to ponder. And we're going to get into the hip a lot today. So, prop wise, you may or may not want a folded blanket. These are good for knee cushions sitting on if you need some support in pigeon pose, whether that's, along the belly, if you're taking belly down, putting up under a hip that's really high, you can use that. I've got a two block. You could totally get away with one block today if needed. But we've got two. And the strap, we're only going to use today for cow face pose. So if you can't kind of comfortably bind your hands back here like this, then a strap is really nice for that. Otherwise, you won't need one. So finding a nice comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you. And as you make any adjustments here, you can close your eyes. And then I want you to see if you can grow a little bit taller in that body. So a little bit longer from the top of the head down to the tailbone. Maybe ears, shoulders, hips are in relative alignment. They don't have to be perfect, but just kind of going in that direction. And we'll support that back with a strong front. So find that center line of engagement again. I like to use that analogy if you're taking your favorite pair of jeans out of the dryer and they're a little tight, I've got to kind of suck it up and in a little bit. So kind of that sensation. But you don't want to be so rigid and so tight with that engagement that you can't sit and breathe with ease. And then bringing that awareness to the breath, can you expand that rib cage as you inhale? And slowly releasing. We'll go again. Good. Fingertips to the side. We'll take the arms up overhead. Maybe look up at those hands. And as you bring those hands into heart center, I want you to also come to your own intention. So gratitude is what I'm going to give you. I'm going to give different things. One thing that I'm really, really grateful for after watching the news a little bit the past few days is that I am not in a war-torn country. So I am very grateful about that. That you might have, something a little bit different than resonates with you. So just kind of find a big gratitude in your life. Once you have that set, good. From here, let's take it up. We're going to open up a little bit before we come into our pranayama. So we're going to come in a nice side bend. So I'm going to the left first. And I'm reaching from the top of my fingertips all the way down to this hip. So this hip is engaged. And while I do like this arm being longer, you get a little bit more engagement in the side body. It doesn't have to be so rigid that your elbow is locked. You can have a little bit of a softness there. And then choose, do you want or need to stay here? Would you like to side bend deeper? Would you like to open up towards the back? Or if it's safe for your back, good. Scoop in the belly or roll that pelvis, C curve roll, forehead in the direction of that knee, but not touching. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, we'll move through center. Inhale, exhale. Over to the other side, reaching over. Breathing and expanding. And then again, you choose. Do you need to stay here? Do you need to side bend deeper? Do you need to open up to the back or find that C curve roll? And noticing for some of you, what you do on this side might be different than what your body needed on the other side. So for right now, that's okay. We're just kind of preparing the spine for some deeper work. So if you need to do something a little bit different, that's okay. And then from here, we'll lengthen and we'll come up, reach up, gentle rotation towards the left, arms come down, rolling shoulders back, and maybe looking a little bit behind you. Finding some nice expansion in that rib cage. And then coming up and rotating to the other side. Rolling shoulders back. And we'll come up and come to center. Good. So for our breath work today, we're going to do alternate nostril breathing. So traditionally, your hands are kind of like Star Trek, live long and prosper. So this is my middle finger and my ring finger, my thumb. Sorry, this is my pointer finger and middle finger and ring finger and pinky over here. Now, different things for different people. Traditionally, these top two fingers can be on the third eye or not touching anything. And you can close off one nostril with the ring and the pinky and the thumb. If getting your fingers around or whatever is too hard for you, and I can empathize because to do this, I had to manually put my fingers in place for a long time before it just popped in there. But if that all bothers you, then I'm just going to say, take your pointer finger and your thumb and go back and forth that. Okay. It's not worth getting stressed out about the fingers. Okay. So from here, I'm going to take a nice big exhale. I'm going to close my right nostril with my right thumb. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Now close the left, open the right. Inhale. Exhale. Closing right, open left. Inhale. Exhale. Close left, open right. Inhale. Exhale. Now keep going here for a few rounds. And maybe noticing that as you do this, that you might notice you have a little bit of congestion on one side to the other, which is totally normal. So we actually have a dominant side and a less dominant side in the nostril. And it actually changes periodically throughout the day as to which one has a little bit more air going through it and which one has a little bit less air going through it. Good. Finished up last round. And release. Good, yummy. From here, let's come onto all fours. We're gonna go into just a little bit of cat-cow. Good. So I'm going to cushion my knees today for this one. And this can also be done on forearms here if you need to do so. Otherwise, you can spread your fingers wide, rooting through the knuckles of pinky, pointer, and thumb. And if you're still feeling a lot of weight into the wrist, maybe try pressing just a little bit more into the finger pad and see if that helps. You can also take your mat up and create a little bit of a lift here if that's something that you need. But when you're ready, good. Belly button is in nice and tight. We're protracted. Inhale. Chest comes forward, pelvis tilts back. Exhale and round, mad cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. And one more time. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Good. Now from here, take a child's pose. Knees can be together as wide as the mat or somewhere in between. You can take your arms long in front of you, or you can take your hands back by the ankles. Find what feels good to you. Breathing and expanding. And then from here, once you're ready, we'll come back. Now, we're going to go into the opposite arm, opposite leg, but we're going to do that a little bit differently here. We're going to engage the core just a little bit more. So where would like for you to start? Good. Find that good starting point. And then I want you to just hover the right hand. And notice in the body what you feel and where you feel it. So could you press out of the shoulder here? Do you feel something more in the left or right side, in the front body, the back body? Where do you feel it? Good. We'll lower that hand down. Now do the same thing, but this time with the left knee. Good. Again, just a little hover. Notice what and where you feel it. And we'll take that down, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Good. Just a little bit of a hover of the left hand. Hand will come down. Now take the right knee. So I feel it all through my core in the front and back side. And we'll take that down. Good. Now we're going to do it together. And then I want you, the question I ask you, what do you feel, where do you feel it? You're going to compare and contrast in a moment. So from here, gently, belly button is in, lift the left knee. Good. Right hand. Notice what you feel and where you feel it here. Is this harder or easier for you than if you were to extend it out? So for me, extending out is a lot easier. It's a lot harder when I bring it back in. Just kind of play with that for a moment. Just a little bit of an inquiry here. That being said, I've got gratitude that I'm not falling on my face here. Good. So from here, when you're ready, good, come back, decompress. Speaking of gratitude, but I am grateful for what today will bring. I am grateful for what today will bring. Now, if you're where I live, we needed some rain and we've gotten some of that today. Hopefully we'll get more. So grateful for that. Good. We'll come back. Good. Now we're going to take that to the other side. So right knee is going to lift into a hover. Left hand's going to lift to the hover. Notice what you feel, where you feel it. Pain is the only wrong answer. And then notice, is that easier or harder than if you take it out? If you bring it back in? And different people will feel different sensations. So for me, this little hover is harder because I don't do it that often, even though I feel a deeper core connection there. And it's easier for me to take this out. But I'm also used to doing it this way. So I don't notice the little subtleties like I used to. But let's kind of play with that. We'll take that down. Good. Find a child's pose, decompress. So knowing you can come back to this child's pose at any time, we're going to make our way into a downward facing dog, So find your down dog in the way that you need to get there. Taller people might have to take their hands a little bit more forward. Good. And I'm pressing in and forward into my hands as I lift my knees and hips. Good. And then it's okay if the elbows bend just a little bit. Elbows are going to turn forward. Shoulders away from the ears. Head and neck are free. And I'm going to bend my left knee, lengthening my right leg. Now switch. You're lengthening the left leg, bending the right knee. Good. And then we'll take both legs long. Good. Inhale, look forward, bend the knees, pause. We're going to walk the hands back towards the feet, getting into all four corners of the feet. Let the head and neck be free. And once you're ready, good. Pressing into the feet and the legs. Inhale, lift and lengthen halfway. Now I'm taking hands to shins. You can also come to thighs, the floor, wherever it is that you can reach. Knees can be bent wherever you're at here if needed. And we'll take that back down. Good. From here again, pressing into the feet and the legs, long back if possible as you come all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Noticing how you feel. We're going to take that to the front of the mat. So we're going to take this right into sun salute A here. You choose always to take or skip the flow, practicing in good form. Big inhale and we'll reach. Exhale and we'll fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen halfway. Exhale and we'll bow. Planting the hands, I'm going to step back into a plank. Good. And remember, if you're chaturanga here, elbows come straight back. Try not to take them out. The shoulders will be a little bit more stable that way. You can also skip that part entirely. From downward facing dog, inhale, look forward, bend the knees, walk, step, or hop your feet forward to meet your hands. Inhale, lift and lengthen halfway. Exhale, and we'll bow. From here, planting the feet and the legs, we're going to rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale and we'll lift. Exhale and we'll fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen halfway. Exhale and we'll bow. Good. Step or hop back to plank. You choose. Take or skip a flow. From downward facing dog, inhale, look forward, bend the knees, walk, step, or hop your feet forward to meet your hands. Inhale, lift and lengthen halfway. Exhale, and bow. Good, rooting through the feet and the legs. We're gonna rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Shining breath, mountain, intention. All right, so we're gonna take this into sun salute V. We're gonna do this 2 times. So if you have more experience, no back issues, feet and legs can come together. If you do have a back issue or you're newer, take the feet hip width apart and follow me. So zipping up, I'm gonna lift up, I'm gonna sit back into my chair. Good, nice long back in the chair, feeling the heels, feeling the glutes. Breathing, but today I'm bringing in love and joy to ease my day. I'm bringing in love and joy to ease my day. Inhale, exhale, and take a inhale, lift and lengthen halfway. Exhale, and we'll bow. From here, step or hop back to plank. You choose. Take or skip a flow. I'm gonna skip this one. From the downward facing dog, when you're ready, left leg's gonna lift 3 points. I'm gonna bend the left knee and I'm gonna open to the left. Trying to keep my shoulders even, head and neck are free, strong in the right leg and gaze to the right toes. And then from here, hip and knee are gonna come back even to the floor, shifting forward, stepping or picking up and putting the left foot forward between the hands. Couple things here. If you know that Warrior One doesn't do it for your low back, your hip, or your back knee, then I want you to come up into a high crescent, keeping the legs in the parallel rotation. If you know you don't have any issues there, you can rotate that leg out about 45-ish degrees. Good. I'm going to press into my heels and I'm going to come up. Good. So I'm strong through the back edge of the back foot because I'm in warrior. If you're in parallel, the high crescent, your heel won't ground here. Maybe the front hip comes back just a smidge. Hips will not and do not have to be perfectly square to the front, no matter where you're at. Now from here, arms are going to come forward, reach and round. That shoulder blade stretch. We'll come up. Good. With control and purpose. Good. Keeping that center line as we come forward, making our way back to the floor. We'll swivel up the back foot if you took warrior. Front foot will step back. You choose. Take or skip your flow. Find your breath. Come back to intention. Remember gratitude. And from here, right leg is going to lift 3 points, bending that right knee, opening up to the right. Strong, even upper body. Strong left leg. Gaze to the left toes. Shoulders are relatively even to each other. And then from here, we'll take the hip and knee back even to the floor. We're going to shift forward, step, or pick up and put the right foot forward between the hands. So same thing, stay in parallel high crescent, or you can warrior prep back here. Good, remember the rotation comes from the hip, not from the knee joint. And then we'll take it up. The front hip can come back just a teeny tiny bit. Breathing. So keeping that center line, we'll get into the front of the shoulder here. I'm going to take my hands behind. Different things. You can stay here and just take the elbows back. You can clasp and press down and roll open. Find what works for your body. And it might not just be a shoulder thing. For me, it's a wrist thing. My wrists don't always like that bind. And we'll gently release. And then once you're ready, with that purpose and control, we're going to come back down. Good. Planting the hands, swiveling up the back foot if you took warrior one. Front foot's going to step back. You choose, take or skip a flow. Breathing. And from the downward facing dog, inhale, look forward, bend the knees, walk, step, or hop your feet forward to meet your hands. Inhale, lift and lengthen halfway. Exhale and we'll bow. Good. From here, we're going to sit back into that chair. The legs are together, hip width apart. Find your chair. Get into the heels. Get into that breath. And we'll press up through the heels and the legs. Exhale, hands to heart center. Finding your breath, mountain intention. All right, let's step out wide. So for this one, where we're eventually going to go is a more traditional pyramid variation. So I've got a block on each side of my mat for that. But first, we're going to take a Prasarita. So I'm going to come out wide here and just take a moment and notice yours. Are your big toes in alignment with each other, or does one foot, a little bit more forward than the other? Could you press to the outer edges of the feet? So I can't emphasize that enough. Pressing to the outer edges of the feet, it tones the muscles so we don't do this collapse in here by the knee. So really press that out. Good. Big inhale and reach. Exhale, and we'll come down. Good. And as we come down, maybe we can be grateful for who we are. I'm grateful for who I am. And then choose where you want to take this. Do you want to stay here? Do you want to walk the hands forward and shift the hips back? Do you want to take them underneath? Do you want a yogi shin or a yogi toe here? Do you want forearms? Find it where you can find yours, but keep a nice long back as best as you can as you come in here. I'm still pressing to the outer edges of the feet. Staying with the breath. It's okay if you need to have a little bend in the knees, a little bit of a yield there, that's okay. And then once you're ready, good, I'm gonna come back up. Good. Different ways to come out of here. Stronger, more experienced people are gonna use that outer line engagement, using the legs and the core to come up. Good. Others are gonna bend the knees a little bit and walk yourself up out of there, so get there the way that you need to. Big inhale and reach. Exhale, we'll take that again. We'll add on this time. As you come here, you're in your wide-legged table. We're going to take this into a twist. So I'm going to take my right hand under my face. You can also come to a block here if needed. I'm going to shift my hips to the left. I'm going to open to the left. And then I'm going to decide, am I going to stay here? Am I going to make sure that that left hand is rotated? And then maybe I take a half bind or a full bind here, opening up that left shoulder a little bit more towards the left. And then we'll release. We'll come back down. Good. Hips will come back to center. Once you're ready, good. We're going to take that to the other side. So left hand comes under the face for the block. Shift the hips to the right. We're going to open to the right, opening up. Remember, you're free to stay here. I'm going to rotate that hand. I'm going to wrap it around, opening up that right shoulder. And then I'm gently going to release and come back down. Hips are back to the floor. Pressing through the outer edges of the feet. Good. We'll come back up. Good. And we're going to go into pyramid. So there's different things for different people. Now, a pyramid that I like, and I do a lot, is, that wide stance where, we're nice and wide and do that. We're going to do a more traditional one today. So I'm going to start by turning my right leg out to the right and kind of envision where your feet would be, how wide apart you would be if you were in Warrior Two, and then take your back leg in about halfway. Good. Now, again, you can do the same thing here that you do in for Warrior One. Are you going to have a Warrior Prep back leg, or are you going to be on parallel railroad track? So do what's best for your back, your hip, and your knee here. Good. So this is where I'm going to start. I'm going to take my front hip back just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a perfect square. I'm zipped up to that center line. And then I'm just going to root into my feet and I'm going to reach. Good. Now I'm going to take my block here for a moment. So I've got my hands on my block here. And then I'm just going to notice what I feel. Did my hip shift in transition? If it did, maybe that front hip comes back a little bit more. Do you need a little bit of a bend in that front knee, or is it okay to lengthen it a little bit? And then, like other positions that we do, your front hamstring is in charge. So if it says it's safe to go a little bit deeper, then maybe you do or can. If not, stay right here. So by going deeper, the spine's going to stay long as maybe you fold in. Maybe you take your block or your hands more forward. Maybe you were on a block, so coming deeper is hands to the floor. So find yours. This is going to be mine today. Breathe and expand. From here, if you took a deeper root, good. You can come to where you're a little bit more at ease. And with a little bend in that knee, good, we'll come up out of there. And then we're going to take that all to the other side. Good. So I'm going to start by turning out my left foot here towards my left. I'm going to bring my back leg in just a little bit. Now I'm going to do the warrior prep here. But again, if you need parallel railroad tracks here, take that. Good. Front hip's going to come back a little bit. Front knee's a little bit soft. I'm engaged in that center line. And then I'm going to take that down. I'm rooting into those feet and the legs. There is some strength in this pose. Good. And then hands can come to a block or so. And then notice if hip shifted in transition, can the front hip come back just a smidge? Are you able to lengthen this front leg a little bit, or does it need to stay bent? Do you need to stay right here, or is it safe for your body to go a little bit deeper? Keeping a long spine. Breathing. When you're ready, good. With a little bit of a bend in that knee, good. I'm going to come back to where I'm a little bit more at ease, keeping that bend, and I'm going to come out of there. Good. Let's balance this out. So come back to your wide leg stance. And then once you're ready, big inhale, exhale, and take a fold. And notice now what this one feels like versus the first and second one you did. I'm still pressing through the outer edges of my feet. And then from here, pressing through those outer edges of the feet, we'll come back up. Good. Get there the way that you need to get there. And exhale, hands to heart center. Good. How about, asking yourself that question again? What are you grateful for? What are you grateful for? Maybe you're grateful because you were just able to do that practice. Maybe it's because you can do a forward fold without falling over. Yeah. So from here, good. We're going to come back to the top of the mat. I'm going to grab my other block here. Maybe. Good. Okay. So we're going to flow down to the floor and we're going to come into dragon. Dragon. So big inhale and we'll reach. Exhale and we'll fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen halfway. Exhale and we'll bow. From here, plant the hands. Step or hop back to plank. You choose. Take or skip the flow. From the downward facing dog when you're ready. Left leg lifts 3 points. Bending that knee. Shifting forward. Stepping or picking up and putting the right foot forward between the hands. Now, I'm going to bring in a little knee cushion here for my right knee. Good. And then you can bring blocks in here. You don't want that front heel to be grounded, or at least for a time, and I'll show you why. So find some length. And then you're going to choose your path. And for some of you, it might be just staying here. You might take both hands and both blocks on the inside of the foot. You might take the forearms to the block or to the floor, depending on where you're at. Maybe this left leg needs to go out a little bit more to the left. Maybe you want to roll open that leg and hip to the edge. Yeah. So keeping that nice core engagement, that center line. And always remember, not just here, but anywhere, if you're somewhere, like a pose, and it's no longer working for you, it makes 0 sense to stay there. So come out when you need to come out, and your body will let you know that. Good. Now from here, I went onto the edge of the foot, so I'm going to take that foot back down. I'm going to come off of my forearms. I'm going to bring my foot and leg back in line with the hip. Good. And then from here, I'm going to give you some options as we counter that. So if it would feel better to you to come into this half split pose and hold it here for a moment, so my leg looks like that, or would it feel better to you to do it a little bit dynamically and just moving in and out for a moment? Find what feels good to your body. For me, that's going to be moving in and out for right now. Yeah. And then maybe those of you that would like can take this now into a pigeon. So I'm going to heel toe this one over. So I've got a little bit of an angle here at the shin. Good. I'm going to really reach my right leg back. Now, I happen to have this here today, so I'm just going to use it as an example. You can always kind of have a little bit of support under the hips if you need that. Now, I can tell from my hip going all the way down is not going to be a good choice. So I'm going to stay up here. But I can also use a bolster, which I don't have today, but you could, or a cushion. I'm just going to take my forearms to my block here. And this will be my pigeon. Now, if this is just too much, no matter what you're doing or trying, come onto your back into a figure 4, and you'll cross the left ankle over the right knee. It is the exact same stretch, but it's gentler on the joint. So finding that happy gratitude. I invite gratitude into my heart now. I invite gratitude into my heart now. And then when you're ready, you're going to make our way out of here in the way that's best for your body based on where you went with that, and find a down dog. Now, if you need to move a blanket out of the way, you can. Otherwise, if you'd like to take or skip the final flow of this class, feel free to move through that vinyasa. Otherwise, from your down dog, right leg's going to lift 3-point, bending that knee. I'm going to step or pick up and put that foot forward. I'm going to bring my left knee down. So bringing my blocks back in here. Again, find your length. You're free to stay here. If you're going to move through a dragon, you can take your hands or your blocks on the inside of the foot. You can take forearms to block or to the floor. You can take this leg out a little bit wider. Good. You can roll onto the side. So find what works for your body in this moment. It might look and feel a lot different than the other side. That's okay. And then once you're ready, good. I went onto the edge of the foot, so I'm going to bring that foot down. I'm going to take my hands back up here. I'm going to walk this foot back in. And then once more, choose what's best for your body on this side. Is it coming back and holding in the half split, or is it better to just come in and out? A little bit of a dynamic stretch, if you will. Yeah. And then once you're ready, good, we'll take this into pigeon. So I'm just going to take this over, come onto your back for figure 4 if needed. I'm going to reach that left leg back here. Good, and on this side, I'm a little bit more open, so I actually don't really need that. I'm going to just get rid of it. Good, and then forearms can come to the blocks, they can come to the floor. And just kind of find it where you need to find it. And once ready, we're going to come up. Good. So in the way that's best for your body, find yourself in a seated position. I'm going to bring my blanket back in here. And we're going to take this into cow face. Cow face. So I'm going to bring my strap in here because I cannot find. And I'm going to also offer you a couple ways that you can do something with your leg. So if I'm going to use my left leg as my base here, good, and cross my right leg over top, kind of like helicopter, you can do this. If you're not able to do this, you know, a basic crisscross applesauce will work just as well. You can come here. Good. Now I've got my right leg on top. So I'm going to take my strap into my right hand, and I want the strap to be behind me. Okay. And then I'm going to bend that right elbow. I'm going to take the left arm out. I'm going to rotate that back and bend that elbow coming back and finding that strap. And then as you're comfortable, you can move the hands closer to each other on that strap. You don't want to lean forward here trying to get a bind, so you want to be up as nice and tall as possible. There is a version of this where we do fold, but that's simply a fold. It's not to get the bind. Notice what you feel, where you feel it. And then once you're ready, good, I'm going to release the bottom hand first and then the top. And you can shake that out. And then we'll undo the leg. And when you're ready, we'll take that right into the other side. Now my right leg is going to be the base leg. My left leg's going to come on top. Remember, you can come onto crisscross applesauce. My left leg's on top, so I'm going to take my strap into my left hand. I want the strap to be behind me. Good. I'm going to bend that left elbow, reaching the right arm out, turning that palm behind me, bending that elbow, grabbing that strap, and then working those hands closer together. Good. And breathing. Remember, pain, numbness, tingling, burning here, never a good sign. You want to back off at any time that you're feeling those. Well, every cell in my body vibrates with gratitude. Every cell in my body vibrates with gratitude. why it's really important that we get a handle on negative self-talk. Good. Carefully release. Shake that out and carefully undo. We're going to come onto our back, onto our back. If you come onto your back, take those feet as wide as your mat and zip up a little bit here and gently sway side to side. So remember, if you put that out there, those negative self-talk, your cells are listening and they'll take note and act accordingly. So for example, if you've got 100 things and 99 of them are going well, and you focus only on that one thing that's not going well, you're going to bring down those 99 things that are going well. So likewise, if you have 100 things, 99 things are going wrong and one thing is going right, you put your focus on that one thing that's going right, you're going to bring those things that are going wrong back into a better place. Okay? So watch the negative self-talk. Your cells are listening. And then from here, good. I'm going to give you the option to either come into a bridge, any variation that works for you. You can also come into a supine cobbler's pose. That would feel good to you. A happy baby. If you've got plow or something like that in your practice and you'd like to go there, feel free to go there. Find something for about the next minute or so that's supine, meaning on your back, that would feel good to you right now. That could also be a supine twist. This is the last thing we're going to do before Shavasana here. Early Shavasana is always an option as well. And then once you're ready, carefully start coming out of where you went. You can take a nice stretch if you need that real quick before your Shavasana. And then we will take that Shavasana. So different things for different people. You can let everything come long and flop open. You can use any props at your disposal that would feel good to you. Back doesn't like legs long and flopping open. You can come into constructive rest. Maybe you've got a sensitive low back, so being on your side or on your belly, it's going to be a little bit more comfortable for you. So kind of find where you need to be. And I'm going to encourage you not to skip your Shavasana. It can be mentally uncomfortable sometimes, but this is the essence of yoga. Being able to be with yourself and eventually be comfortable with yourself. And that won't happen if you don't practice it. So from here, maybe last thought, an attitude of gratitude brings me to my desires. And taking some deep breaths. Choose stillness, or gently taking head and neck from side to side. Maybe inviting some fingers and toe movements here. And then choosing your next move. Maybe it would feel better if you brought your knees into the chest. Maybe it'd feel better if you got a full body hug in here or a full body stretch. And whenever you're ready, good. Bending in both knees, rolling over to your right or left side. Taking all the time that you need here today. And when you're ready, pressing yourself up to a comfortable seat. Taking a moment to notice how you feel. Palms up. We'll lift up. As we lift the arms up, look up at those hands. And as you start to bring them down, we'll touch the thumbs to the forehead for good and true thoughts. The lips for good and kind words. And the heart for open and loving heart. Knowing no effort on this mat is ever wasted. No gain is ever reversed. May you be safe. May you stay well. Have a wonderful day, evening, week, month ahead. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.